When you first get your new GPM Cartridge Filler version 2, you'll have to assemble the two pieces together. First thing that you'll do is put the hopper on. So we're using a poppet valve under the hopper above the valve block here. So first thing you do is put the poppet valve in, pointing upwards. Then your gasket and the hopper. Once your hopper's on, you can slide on your hopper heater as well. Now we'll attach the air fittings. Up here you'll see the air coming from the control panel. The two air hoses from the left supply air to the rotary piston. The left red goes into the front of the rotary piston, into the front air connection. Those are just press fit, so you just push it in tight. And then the yellow one from the left side goes into the rear of the rotary piston. Again, push in all the way. Then take the red from the right, and that will go in the front of your main piston, and the yellow one from the right side will go in the rear of your main piston. Now your air is attached properly. Next, we'll attach the sensor bracket in the back. This allows you to set your fill. You'll loosen the two screws that will be supplied in the filler already. Place the bracket in its spot. And then just tighten it into place. With your Allen wrench. That is a 532 Allen wrench for the sensor bracket there. Now we will connect the heating elements. Right now we're not using the flexible heater, so we'll just remove that towards the back for now, because that's only used with the hosed setup. Cartridge heater number 1 goes to our hopper heater. So first we want to take the actual heating element, and we will place it into the bottom of the hopper heater. This cartridge heater slides right into this hole here, and then the set screw will keep it in. Always make sure that your unit is powered off when you're hooking up these heating elements. So that set screw there keeps your cartridge heater in. And then this thermo, which reads the temperature inside the hopper heater, goes snugly down into this hole. You want to push it in gently so it gets into place, and then it barely needs to be tightened at all. You just want to keep it snug in. So as long as it's staying in, there's no need to wrench on that. Now your hopper heater is ready for heating. Now we'll hook up the bottom heater. So cartridge heater number 2 refers to the heater in the valve block. So first you'll want to remove the set screw. And slide your cartridge heater into its location. And then replace your screw so that it holds that cartridge heater in place. So now that the cartridge heater is in place, we'll put the thermocoupler as well. We're just going to slide it in there gently so that it's in, and then you can really just tighten the set screw with your hand as long as it's keeping that from sliding out of its spot. You're good. So now that that's in, we are all set here with both of these units are set up for their heating. Once you have your air attachments set up and your heat attachments, it's time to connect the control panel to the main filler to give you support on your table. Just take the supplied brace unit and attach to the one leg of the filler and one leg of the control panel. This helps keep the filler sturdy. During filling, and it allows you to move the location of the filler with just one person on the table without needing two people to lift it and adjust it. The way the brace is, it allows you to adjust the control panel so that it's facing the user in the most convenient manner possible. Now that you have all your heating elements set up and your control panel is attached to your filler, you can decide which way you want to fill your product. Right now we have the poppet valve in between the hopper and the block, and we always use that poppet valve there. For filling without a hose, we have a couple options. The first option is a poppet valve setup like this that would go directly to a lure lock fitting. So in this case, you're attaching this modified part that puts the poppet valve under the valve block here, and your lure lock needle can go right into it. This is only going to work if your product is very thin. So this setup is going to work best with the poppet valve on the bottom if your product is very thin and it doesn't thicken up too quickly. If it thickens up too quickly, you may have some difficulty pushing through the bottom poppet valve. In that case, if your product is very thick, you can take the poppet valve out of here, and if you end up with leaking with that setup, you have the option of a check valve. Also, when you're using this poppet valve setup, if you need to provide some heat to the valve area, you can always use part of your heating element from your flexible heater. That can be wrapped around your element up here in a way that will provide heat to this area on your filler as well. To use the check valve setup, just pull the poppet valve connector and poppet valve off, and then take your tri-clamp fitting that's already attached here to our check valve. We'll add the nozzle in the bottom. I'm doing this casually, but you'll want it to be nice and tight in there. And then we'll take the same gasket for our seal. Attach the tri-clamp. And now you're ready to go filling straight out into your tri-clamp fitting and your check valve. Of course, you'll need to take the tray off to fill with this setup. To fill with the hose attachment, you'll take off your check valve or poppet valve setup from underneath your valve block, and now you'll set up your hosing system. First, we'll take the tri-clamp fitting, and we will attach that to an elbow. And then this hose, we're going to put pipe tape, but for the sake of the video, this hose then attaches to this elbow. Now you're all set up with your hose attachment with your elbows, your check valve and lure lock attachment at the end, and your tri-clamp fitting up at the top. Your heating element is all the way through down to the end so that you're getting thorough heating throughout. You can see this is the end of the heating element, so if you need a little extra you can pull there. And all your thermos are in place. Back here is the holster for your nozzle. And at this point, you can power up your machine. The foot pedal we'll place on the floor. We'll plug in the electric to a standard 120 volt electrical attachment, and then air to the 80 psi of clean air. Once you're all hooked up, you can turn on the power and get started with filling. Your screen will come on, and once it's ready, we can get started. We'll go into the main, and we can enable our heaters, set our temperatures, and get started filling.